To create a scatter plot on the TI89, you need to enter the data into the two columns. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Let's go to Apps, which is this button here that says Apps, and you can scroll to either Data/Matrix, or the standard one that I usually use is Stat/List Editor, which will sound a little bit more like what the students using the 84 are doing, but I'll show you how to do the data matrix. So I'm going to click Enter to open that up. I do want to use the current one. I could open one because I can save this with a certain name, or I can create a new one, but I just use current. And so I just simply delete things that are in there and update it as I use it. I already have data that's been entered into the columns. As you can see, this was data from a class where we were finding the volume of different boxes. And so I'm going to create a scatter plot based on that. I go to F2, which is the plot setup. I'm going to press that button. And here I'm going to define the type of plot that I want. So I'm going to press the button F1. As you can see, that means define it. I do want a scatter plot, so I am actually going to just leave it on that option, but as you can see, there are different options there. I do like to use the box as the indicator for each point, so I'm going to also just leave that. And then I have to tell it that for the X values, I want it to pull the data from C1. So I believe alpha is already lit up here, so I don't have to press the alpha button. I just press C, undo alpha so that I can tell it I need the number 1, and then scroll on down. I now need C2, so I'm going to press C. And again, that was without the alpha, so I have to press alpha, C, and then 2 to tell it column 2 is going to be my Y values. Okay, hit enter to save all that information and enter again. And now we are ready to graph it. So if you were to simply go to second graph, it should be there. If it's not, let me show you how to do that. You probably simply need to change the zoom, which is F2. So if I press that, you can zoom. Standard is usually pretty good. You could also zoom to the data that you've put in. So usually zoom 9 is usually going to pop you to whatever it is that you need. Now we want to get a regression. It's a little iffy. You might think that it's a quadratic, but based on the data that we were taking with finding volume, I actually know that it's a cubic. So I want it to do a calculation. I need to go back into that matrix editor. So I'm going to press Apps to get my apps pulled up, and then back up to Data/Matrix editor, and then open this. Yes, it was the current set of data that I was looking at. Now I'm going to press F5. F5 is calc, so press F5. In this case, the calculation type that I want to do is a cubic regression, like I was saying. I know it to be a cubic, so I press enter. Again, I have to remind it where the X and Y values are coming from. So I need to tell it that this is coming from C1. And again, it didn't like my alpha, so C1, and then go down here, Y is supposed to be C2. And as far as the store this, I'm not going to bother to store it, I just want to look at it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to save this information. And there's the data that I needed.